Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Friday the 14th of April 2023. And we are seeing gold and silver prices soaring this past week, particularly silver. We've also seen other cryptocurrencies, equities, and precious metals also rise considerably. Something is happening in the markets, and in this video, we'll discuss what. Also, we ask you to tune in to tomorrow's video where we will produce our regular weekly update because there's further news being announced by the United States this afternoon. Let's now take a look as to what's been going on. Yes, let's just have a quick look at the charts and see what's happening to gold and silver prices first, and then we'll talk about them. If we take a look at gold, it's now standing at $2,040. It ended last week at $2,008, so it's actually risen $32 so far. And look at this rise over the last couple of days. If you look on the screen, you can see basically it dipped on Monday, re-dipped Monday evening or Monday afternoon, and then we've had a gradual rise with slight dips, but then recovery, and then a dip, recovery, and advancement, dip, advancement. What's going on here? Let's look at silver. Silver is really doing extraordinarily well, up over 4% this week. It ended last week on $24.98, just shy of $25. It's now over $26 at $26.05. And again, a similar trait, down on Monday, then a recovery, but back down. And then since Tuesday, it's continued to rise. We've got to ask the question, why? What's going on? Why is gold and silver becoming popular at the moment? Yes, gold and silver are rising, but I have to point out, it's not just gold and silver going up. Take a look at this. Well, as mentioned, it's not just gold and silver rising. We can see that yesterday, United States stock markets were also on a bit of a tear. Admittedly, 1 to 2% is not a tear, but it's a considerable rise. And also this morning, European and UK markets are also up, as they were yesterday. And Asia Pacific markets also up. And if we look at cryptocurrencies, they too are rising 3% on the overall market, but Bitcoin up 10% in the last 7 days. Ethereum, the top two here, up 13.9%. And even Cardano, which is one that I personally watch very closely, and that's up 15%. And Solana, another competitor, up nearly 23%. Something is going on. Okay, I'm now going to reveal to you part of the reason we're seeing these rises in gold and silver prices, as well as cryptocurrencies and equities, and really most commodities priced in US dollars. The CPI figures announced particularly on Wednesday were far better, far better than the markets were expecting. You can see that in February, the CPI for the month was 0.4%. By CPI, we're broadly talking about inflation. Expectations were that they would fall to 0.2. The reality was, for March, it actually fell to 0.1%. That was considerably better than markets expected. Now, core CPI, which is really the CPI the Fed will look at more closely, is also down, but very close to what the market expected. And we can see that inflation, I'm going to call it inflation, has essentially fallen from 6% to 5% year over year. And as we know, the Federal Reserve wants a 2% target. We're still far from that. And in my personal view, the markets are getting a little overexcited a little bit too soon. But the reason for this is that because those figures are so low, we're going to have a situation whereby the Fed and the FOMC, who are part of the Federal Reserve, are meeting on the 2nd and 3rd of May and will be making a decision on interest rates then. Everyone was really expecting them to raise rates by 0.25% once again. But if these figures hold, it looks like there will be no rate rise. And to help that even further, we had the producer price index come out yesterday at minus 0.5, showing producer prices are also falling. Now we have retail sales today, and if that also comes in relatively weak, It means that the interest rate rises that the Federal Reserve have exerted are working, and therefore is buoying the market. The market is beginning to feel that we are at the peak of interest rates. I don't necessarily agree, but that's the view. And it's had a consequential effect on the US dollar value, where we had, not so long ago, the dollar index spot at 115. Recently, it's been meandering between 103 and 105, and now it's down to just shy of 101. It dips below 100, which it could, in theory, we could see even more buoyancy in those markets. So, it's exciting times. Yes, with CPI coming in lower than anticipated, with the producer price index coming in lower than anticipated, and now retail sales, we'll wait a few hours and find out what the results are for those. The markets are getting excited about no further rate rises in May. Now, all that said, there's still a disparity between 5% and 2% inflation, which is what the Federal Reserve, and in fact most governments and central banks around the Western world certainly, are aiming for. There's still a big gap. And I suspect this euphoria will continue for a short while, but then may dampen down unless rates continue to fall. If we are, and I use that word very carefully, if we are at peak interest rates now, and the next sign is a reduction in those rates, then we shall see, almost without doubt, the crypto markets, the equity markets, and gold and silver rise substantially. The problem, however, is what no one can really forecast, is if rates do come down, how many people are going to perhaps substitute their investment in gold and silver, which is often regarded as a safe haven investment, and put those monies into, shall we say, assets that provide an income, such as equity, shares, and sometimes bonds. What's going to be that transfer substitutional effect? None of us really know, and it will take some very good, ardent economists to try and work that out. So it's going to be good times for the short term. The good news is those who've invested in gold and silver of late will be very pleased indeed. Thank you for watching and listening. Please, we'd appreciate it if you'd give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and press the bell sign. And just a reminder that tomorrow we'll be producing our weekly update, which will encompass as well the economic data being announced by the US this afternoon. In addition, if you haven't done so, please take a look at our second channel, which is Finances Do Matter, where we have over 50 videos, and we would welcome any comments, likes, shares, and subscriptions.